There we go.
Hey, we're live. We're live.
Hi.
Hello.
Wow, this time.
So smooth. We got this.
All right. Hello, everybody.
Hey. So
I hope
nice.
it's slightly less hot wherever you are than it is here.
Yeah.
I doubt that for some reason.
There's not very many places in the world where it's not hot.
It's like the desert in Toronto right now. That's what it feels like.
If the
It
desert
truly
is
does.
surrounded by swamp.
I know the kids want to go down to the beach today, which is just, the waterfront. And I just cannot get behind swimming in it. I don't care if my kids swim in it. That's fine. But I cannot get my own body in that water.
I won't even put my feet in there. No.
I got into the water on Toronto Island last.
Toronto Island I can deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And okay, anyways, we're being a little too local here for the internet, okay?
Yes, and we are talking about something that just makes me hot thinking about it. Like I can't.
Streaming live from Ontario, Canada, where we have now ascertained it is hot. Okay.
Yeah.
Hope you are well. Thank you for joining us. We have an actual topic for today, and it's not the weather. Please meet our friend Reena Parekh, who is a trainer also from Ontario, Canada, from Toronto. Hello, Reena.
Hello.
And Reena's a mom of two, and a local friend, a fellow trainer, and someone who also works with pregnant and postpartum women. And so we asked Reena to come chat with us today as a runner herself and a strength coach about returning to running in postpartum. This is a topic that just will not die. Quarantine, fitness, summer, trapped inside with children. There's a lot of reasons that people want to run right now. And you must be hearing about it a lot too from your clients, Reena.
Yes, everybody wants to run. I'm going to start this off by saying that I am not a distance runner. I don't really enjoy going out and like going for a long run, but quarantine, needing to escape my family, has inspired me to try doing some short runs. And at 17 months postpartum, I was still scared to go running because of my prolapse. So, but thankfully, a lot of the work that I put in over the last year and a half with strength training and learning how to manage my symptoms has helped a lot. So like, I feel more confident going out there, and I feel like prolapse, leaking, and pain, and a lot of the other common symptoms that we experience as mothers, especially, and then just going out and running can be detrimental to like just not even just our physical health, but our mental health. Like we can start to fear exercise and fear going out and doing things, and that's not what I want for other people, because I know what that's like. And so like I'm really glad to be here to be talking about this with you.
So tell us about your you and your, how old are your kiddos, and what have you been doing lately?
Lately, as in like exercise, like quarantine,
or I don't know,
life.
I feel like the answer to it is workbooks, homework notes. Like, is there anything else?
Minecraft.
No,
like,
we're not there yet.
A lot of Lego.
My oldest is 5.5. So, sorry.
Your youngest is 17 months, you said?
17 months. Yeah, she just turned 17 months, and she's more like she's 3.
Second baby.
Yeah, and I pivot. I was an in-person one-on-one personal trainer, fitness coach, and I have now moved everything online since COVID hit. And it's been great. It's been a really great way to help support people who are also trying to manage this new sense of normal with also putting physical activity first. And especially, when we ignore a lot of the rehabilitative stuff, the boring stuff we don't ever want to do, this is a perfect time to do it because we're at home and it doesn't take a lot of time and equipment. So it's a great way to start prepping yourself to get into more physical activities when you're ready to get out there and either run or go to the gym or whatever it looks like down the road.
Exactly. And I think that can, like, a lot of us are craving, especially when I hear from friends who are not working full time right now, or who've had to put their careers on the back burner to look after little kids. Like we're all craving that consistency of a routine and a schedule right now, I think. And so it is a perfect time to do kind of a progressive program, because can give you that reason to put something in the calendar every day. And then, you know, you start to fill in around that. What do they say? If you want something done, ask a busy person. So it can, sometimes it feels like when there's nothing to do, there's like the day just goes by, right? So great time.
Totally.
A great time to focus on something. Okay, so, and Reena, you're not a distance runner, but you do, you sure have lots of running action shots. You run. Yeah.
Because they look so cool on Instagram.
But you're a fitness runner. You run for endurance and for and et cetera, right?
I used to do a sprints. And then I got back into it and fell out of it again. And that is a long-term goal that I have, is to get back into sprinting. So
awesome. And so where are you at with your own recovery since your daughter's birth? So 17 months still, for some people might think, oh, she's obviously back to, you know, everything, I think, but that's still pretty early postpartum.
It is. And there's no timeline on recovery. Like, that's the thing. We just can't say, you know, you're 6 months postpartum, this is the perfect time for you to go running or weightlifting, but like, it's not. And so for someone like me who had never experienced prolapse with my first, and I had it with my second, I had 2 low-grade prolapses. And the second one came after birth, and that one's the one that's impacted me the most. Thankfully, it's low grade, but in my head, my symptoms told me it was much bigger than it was. So I was scared to do anything for a really long time. And because I work in a gym environment, I started working with a trainer at my gym who is a strength specialist, and she helped me a lot. And working with pelvic floor physio, obviously, I think that's the number one thing, was to have conversations that were really just very like, not authentic, but like very real. Like there's no such thing as TMI with your pelvic floor physio. And she was the one who really said, so you feel your prolapse, that's okay. You know how to manage it. You've done X, Y, and Z, like you're doing the work. And so really it was like more of a vote of confidence, and because I've done the work. And so I think when you've put in that time and effort, and you know that you've taken care of yourself in that manner, and worked your way up progressively, there has to be a sense of belief that you're going to be okay, and you're not going to make things worse. So I think it all works together, and having a coach really helps with that, and having somebody tell you like, you're going to be okay because you've done all of these things. Now you know how to manage your symptoms. Let's keep going. So for me, I've been super lucky. I think I did my first barbell squat postpartum at a year postpartum.
I think I remember that Instagram post.
And it was like 65 pounds.
Yeah.
Because it was such a big deal for me.
Totally.
I bought like a squat, like something that I have done for years with weights. I could not do. And a big piece of that was a mental block. Physically, I could do a pull-up assisted. I could deadlift three digits. Like I could do these things, but they weren't giving me symptoms that were making me doubt myself. And squat was like that one thing that I couldn't do. And then I did it, and it's not perfect. It's still not perfect today, but I have more vote of confidence in myself to know that I'm going to be okay. And I know when to push forward a little bit. And I know that it's okay to regress when I need to, and it's okay to just lay on the floor and do my deep breathing exercises when I need to, because I've been exposed to all of that. And I know how to integrate it into my training now, so I don't have to worry.
And it's not always linear. There are different days where symptoms pop up, or tension or stress. And so I think being equipped with that knowledge, as you're saying, is so important, and not just being concerned with like a regimented program, but just having the tools to use.
Exactly. It's a set of tools, and that's a good way to put it. Now we're in a pandemic, and so all of these other factors are now adding to our daily lives. Whether it's
we need all the tools we can get.
Pandemic snacking, and like maybe we're staying up till not getting enough sleep. Maybe we're not drinking enough water. And all those things can impact your physical health and your pelvic health, which we don't always think about either. But
so I was smiling while you were talking. Sorry, Dara, I cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I was smiling while you were talking, because our topic is 3 check boxes that help you know that you're ready to start running, and you kind of weave them in through your own experience. So I love it. That's amazing that you're speaking from a place of personal experience and professional experience as well. Mm-hmm. Should we hop into those?
Yeah, let's do it. And maybe just a quick note that although we're speaking to the more, what we would consider the more extreme forms of birth trauma, birth injury, like a prolapse, hernia, etc., diastasis, that this would apply no matter what stage of postpartum you're at and whether you feel you are experiencing birth injuries or not. So, which, and the flip side of that is it's really optimistic to see that as an industry, and for those of you at home who are maybe recovering from a birth in the last couple of years, to know that prolapse is not like a life sentence of you can do nothing but mat work like it was 10 years ago. And in fact, like Reena said, being coached appropriately means also being pushed a little bit past your current comfort level to see like progressively what's the next thing that you're ready for and see where your right level is. So I think that's the amazing power of like an understanding coach like Reena, or and being coached by a fellow mother is someone who's like, hey, you know, like you'll get through this at the pace that's right for you and your body, but you can get through this and find it right. So take it away, Reena. You've got 3 main tips. 3 boxes you need to check, 3 ways to know for sure that you are probably, for sure that you're probably ready. You're surely probably ready.
Surely, maybe not.
Probably, surely, kind of ready. But anyways, if you haven't checked these boxes yet, you got no business going out for a run yet, basically. So start here. Number 1.
Yeah, I mean, there's more than 3, but let's stick to 3.
We like the number. We
love 3 things.
We talk about not having a regimen and being linear, and then we're like, there's 3 things.
We have 12 minutes, go.
So first things first, like Dara said, it doesn't matter if you're 6 weeks postpartum, 6 months postpartum, 6 years postpartum. If you've never and it's been a long time since you've run, see a pelvic floor physio. Like hands down. I feel like that needs to be part of our annual checkup. Just as often as we go to the dentist or to our physicals or whatever it is, see a pelvic floor physio, because you never know what's going on down there. And it's good to know what's going on down there because it is part of your body. And then working with a certified coach also helps. So any one of 3 of us, we can speak openly about what's going on and helping you prep to go out. So number 1, seek someone that has the knowledge to help you, especially if you're doubting yourself. And then I think the second one we had talked about was having some kind of progression program in place. And there's a lot more research out there now. I just received a study like maybe a couple of weeks ago on, and this wasn't done in Europe on postpartum running, but there's a lot of research coming out now on how to progress yourself towards running, because we think of running as, I can just lace up and go outside and it's not that hard. But when you think of the impact that it has on your body, it's one-sided. You're landing on one foot and you're that impact on one side of your body at a time. It takes a lot of mind, muscle, nervous system, coordination to happen, right? In order for that to happen, and to happen without experiencing peeing your pants while you're running, pain down there, or like even feeling your prolapse symptoms. And so having a progression program helps you learn those tools that we were talking about earlier, having that toolbox so that you know how to prepare yourself before you go for your run, what to do during your run if you're starting to feel things that don't feel like they should, and what to do after as a recovery. And so building from the inside out really is the name of the game, like bringing that strong foundation in your core, making sure your pelvic floor is working along with your core, and then learning how to execute those one-sided or unilateral movements, such as like a single like step up, a lunge, pause mountain climbers, things like that help you mimic those movements when you run, but at a slower pace and more strength-based.
Love that.
Yeah. So that's hard to, like you say, we're kind of throwing a lot of things into buckets here, but
I just gave a lot of information.
So let's just break it down for a second before you go on to tip number 3. So number 1 being to have a personal consultation with a pelvic physiotherapist, and then if it's available to you, to work with a coach to have a progressive program. Because even if you haven't had symptoms or you don't think you're having symptoms, you won't always know until you start to add the impact in or start to add the intensity in that there's a problem there.
It's not just pelvic floor. It's also like people are always like, oh, my back hurts, but I want to start running, or my knee, I have knee stuff, but I want to start running. You're like, let's strengthen your body to withstand that impact before you start running.
Yeah. We need strong muscles to support those joints. Yeah.
And then number two being kind of the next step on that is you're suggesting before you think about doing something like thousands of one-sided landings or one unilateral landings, have you already been training on single leg exercises? Like, have you been doing step ups, lunges? That's such a great point. And then you mentioned briefly, like, have you been doing the core retraining and learning how to integrate your core breath you were saying to us earlier, right?
That's like 2A and 2B right there.
Yeah, it's kind of it's a big bucket. Exactly.
It's a big one. Yeah. And
but that's what's great about the progressive is that you really do want to integrate the core and breathing with those movements.
Yes.
You know, you can just pound out some step ups, but like, are you able to engage your core and move through that? Yeah. Like you said, focusing on strength. It's really great.
Yeah. Learning how to coordinate the breath with the core, with the movement.
Ideally, you've been doing that strength training base. We're not talking about like a couple of weeks. No. I think that sometimes, like, I don't know, people go, I don't know, it's like, okay, I started it, you know, like, it's not about starting it when we say check the boxes, right? It's like about have you made some progress and you feel ready to take it to the next level.
Exactly. The time and patience piece is probably the hardest, especially in our instant gratification world and social media world of people bouncing back so quickly. So
and they're not bouncing back. That's the thing. They're not bouncing back. They're
all lies.
Running at 6 weeks and they're pissing themselves and they're not talking about it or they're joking about it. Or they're, so you don't know. And I think even, we make the mistake when we see professional athletes going back is that doesn't mean they're not symptomatic. That doesn't mean that they're not suffering they are, many women are suffering in postpartum, whether they're professional exercisers or amateur exercisers, thinking that the end is the means and it's not, right? So,
topic for another day. We could talk all day about that.
Never mind.
Number three.
Number one, pelvic physio and hopefully a coach if you can afford it or find a friend who knows or whatever. Number two, have you already been successfully integrating core and pelvic floor training and regular strength training, including single leg movements and large ranges of motion into your regular programming for several weeks and or months. And number three would be going out there and giving it a try, but taking it progressing, right? So maybe you walk for a minute and a half, you run for 30 seconds to 60 seconds, and then you walk, run. So something slow so that you're starting to build that movement pattern back into your lifestyle, but not just being like, I'm going to go run 5K and like run out the door. Progress that and see how you feel before, during, and after. Because you'd be surprised that you could do it, then, an hour later, you might be like, oh, that doesn't feel so good. And really acknowledge that it's okay if something doesn't feel right during or after, but acknowledge it and let's take a step back and see how we can assess that and what can we do to prevent that for next time. Or maybe it's you saying, okay, maybe I need to pull back. Maybe instead of 60 seconds, I run for 30 seconds and see if that
I could
helps.
probably handle 30 seconds. I think that might be my
I can do 30 seconds. About 3 times and then I'm good for the day.
But
yeah,
isn't, unless your goal is to run a certain distance, and I suppose that's a different conversation for those, like you said, you're not a distance runner. For those who are looking to get back to racing or run a certain distance, I mean, that would be the right time then to work with a running coach too, right? Someone who ideally has some experience with rehabilitation and or postpartum, and realize if you're not looking to go a certain distance, there is zero anything wrong with running 30 seconds for the rest of your life. We have the research. Intervals are fine.
Intervals are 100% okay.
Exactly. So if your threshold where you have no pelvic floor symptoms is, run 30 seconds or a minute walk for 5, fine, go do it, right? Why not?
Yeah. Or you can try, like small, like high impact movements like that at home, like skaters, or like high knees at a slower pace at home, just to see how those things feel.
Literally the worst. I would rather run than do high knees any day.
I would much rather do those things than run.
I have very long femurs, and they're difficult to lift high.
Okay, I'm a sprinter, so I like high knees, and so here's a story. So when my son who's 5.5, when he was about a year, I had gone back to teaching high impact at the gym. So I was teaching high impact classes, and I was pretty much fine after that birth. I didn't have a lot of issues. And we had a 60-second high knee sprint at the end. I was like, you're going to finish strong. I got my mic on. I'm screaming at everybody. There's like 30 people in my class. We're sweating. And I'm going with them. And then I peed my pants. And I was like, that wasn't supposed to happen. And that's the first time anything like that had ever happened to me. I didn't think it would ever happen, but it did, because my exertion level was that high. So it's also important to know where our threshold is.
Yeah. And a fatigue level at the end of a workout too.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I still had 2 more tracks to teach after that. So that was not great.
You're like,
I wish I could say my
60 seconds of march.
Yeah. I wish my peeing my pants stories were like high impact, that they were just me puking on the side of the road when I was pregnant. And peeing my pants. So it's not as glamorous as high knee.
It was not glamorous.
I don't think anyone's listening to this conversation in an aspirational way.
But it never happened again after that.
Wow.
But it's a great point again about individuality too. And how certain exercises based on, like I was saying, it's a joke about I do have ridiculously long feet. I have long thigh bones. Okay. And so the way your body is mechanically built will make some exercises harder or easier to do, right? So one person might be fine with jumping jacks or jump squats, but not okay to run. And another person might be fine to run, but not okay to go on a trampoline or what have you. So, and you never might have perfect pelvic floor function, just like I'll never have perfect Achilles tendons, and you'll never have perfect whatever.
I thought you were going to say perfect thighs.
My femurs!
Like, it's a very hot topic around here with Dara and I about her femur length this summer, because she's having a hard time finding shorts.
Shorts, yes.
Yeah. Sure. Also, is there like a technical term for this other than, when you say short-waisted, long-waisted? I feel like there needs to be a technical, like a term for that portion of the torso. Physio friends. Chime in, physio friends. Maybe there is. Let me just know that. I need long butt, long femur shorts.
You can come out with your own line.
Let's do it.
For people with long femurs.
Built-in fanny pack and
yes,
we're on it.
Totally.
Mama Reset merch.
How dorky, as dorky as possible. Okay, so we went off course there. Those were 3 great tips.
3 great tips.
Great tips. Number 1, recap. Number 1, consult with physiotherapist. Number 2, Reena, take it away.
I'm going to say for the physio too, virtual consult would be so great if you haven't seen one. Right now is a great time to do a virtual consult. Having a conversation, you can learn so much about your own body. So I highly recommend it. To progressive overload. So starting right from those core breathing exercises and working your way up through body weight to strength training.
Yep.
And then 3, going out and progressing those movements in a high impact way. So, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, and assessing how you feel.
If it wasn't a million degrees out, I would go and do that right now.
You didn't want to run. I know. It didn't make me want to
run. A little 30-second jog for you guys, but I just can't do it right now. Just can't do it. Maybe in my air-conditioned basement, just run on the spot.
There you go.
Run back and forth through the sprinkler.
Yes.
Nice. Nice.
I will be doing intervals later at the sprinkler.
The sprinkler.
Yeah. You can learn from Reena because she does what she does. And where can you be found?
I can be found on Instagram at It's Reena Parekh, and I can throw that into the comments section after this. And I share all things fitness related to pelvic health, as well as other fun, exciting things.
You share way more than just that. We're talking coffee, love of coffee. You are our
the only things that matter. The only things that matter to us.
Yeah.
Like coffee.
She likes coffee. Yes, and on Facebook, you're also on Facebook, are you not?
Yeah, I am. It's not as active, but yes, Reena Parekh Fitness. Yeah.
Okay.
And
cool.
So we have a very exciting announcement coming up with Reena later this summer. It's all you get to know right now, but it may or may not involve running. That's literally all you get to know.
It may.
It probably does.
It probably does. So stay tuned for more on that and more shares with Reena coming up later this year. And also, Reena, one last tip is you have a great Facebook group for those who are looking for kind of a community of moms.
Who would be into running.
Who would be into running. There are a lot of runners in that group. Yes.
Yeah, so we can link to that in the comments as well. If you have a question for Reena about running, or you can catch her in, you run the Facebook group. Do you run it by yourself, or do you have co-runners?
Just me.
Yeah, so join Reena's Facebook group for some chat with other exercising mom types, and find her on Instagram. Yeah, you've been sharing like some postpartum series right now on your like really helpful, like organized kinds of shares. Organized and I mean, helpful is not the word that I'm looking for, but I guess inspiring. Like I was just reading one today, and it was very it was just like a feel-good post. You're just like, oh, just the way she talks about it isn't scary, and like
it shouldn't be scary. Yeah, you're not going to turn into a zombie. That's what another coach said. You're not going to turn into a zombie if you have bad posture. Like, you're going to be okay.
Yeah,
but we can make it better.
And you can use programming, smart programming that checks the boxes for
all the boxes.
Beating a dead horse, but checks the boxes that you actually need, right? Without ideally your programming is including these things, and you're not doing like this rehab program and that rehab program and this strength program, and that, you know what I mean? Like hopefully getting some of that working in synchronicity. So
my hope is that people do take care of their bodies before doing things like running. I know lots of distance runners who've had multiple children, and I worry about their pelvic floor because they're fine today. I worry about them 10, 15 years down the road because you just never know. And so it's a preventative measure as well for our own health.
Don't let Reena worry about your vagina, people. Like, you got to worry about that shit yourself. That's
I do worry about vaginas. Yes.
Your one and only vagina. It's not Reena's problem. Okay.
Take care of your vaginas.
Take care of that stuff. Okay. I think
it's a good way to end. Yes. Take care of your vagina. Go run in the sprinkler.
Go walk through the sprinkler. See how it feels.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for joining, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.